and then there was one. All right. So who all do we have out in Zoom land? We got Mark,
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 Cheyenne.
Cheyenne. All right, perfect. Sounds good. Well, any big wins for the night? Anything to announce? No?
Yes, life not on 75 hard is worthless.
Life not on 75 hard is worthless. Why is that?
Because I slept in. I didn't work out.
Yeah, you just don't feel the same.
It's just is this death? Is this what dying feels like?
Let me give you a little secret. Did you know that you technically don't have to be on 75 hard
To still do those things?
in order to work out every day?
Well, obviously. However,
Yeah.
I just
Still
I'll take a quick break, and then I was this is terrible.
Yeah, no, I took last Friday off because we had that event, and I felt like trash all day long.
Don't like it.
Yeah, no, absolutely not. Never doing it again. But I couldn't agree more. All right, well, let's just jump right into it. So yesterday we were working on the just listed portion of the script, and one thing that Byron was talking about yesterday is that this script actually kind of fits into anything and everything that you want it to fit into, because it's just starting a conversation. Your goal is not to get a new client right away. You're not looking for hot leads. I mean, if you find one, it's going to be a diamond in the rough. But most of the time, this is going to be a cold lead. This is a resource. This is referral resource. That's usually what you're going for here. And every now and then, a small thing will pop up where you're going to have a hot lead or a warm lead. But most of the time, you're looking for referral sources. If you go into every one of these conversations with that mentality, thinking about, I'm not trying to get, somebody that's going to buy a house today, then you're going to win. If you go into this situation thinking every single person that you're going to call is going to tell you, oh yeah, I'm ready to go, come on over, let's list my house, you're going to get real frustrated real fast. So yesterday we went over just listed. We're going to split the script a little bit and go to the just sold side. So does anybody have, and I know there's some Zoomland people out there, does anybody have any good ways that we could change this script and make it into a just sold? Okay,
If they're on Zoom, just tell them to unmute, and then they can talk.
Yeah, if you guys want to talk on Zoom, just unmute yourself and you can speak, and we can hear you. But on number 2, Jay, you want to read that out loud for us?
Good. Hey, I was just giving you a quick call. We just sold a property on 123 Main Street, and I'm calling to see if you might know anybody that wants to move into the neighborhood.
Perfect. So if I was to switch that to just sold, I know this is kind of elementary, but how would we switch that?
I just sold a property on 123 Main.
Exactly. Super simple. Keep it stupid, super simple. Hi, Ben. Come on in. So all you're doing is switching a couple words and it becomes a completely different script. If you move into the rest of it, let's go down to, let's say somebody comes out and says, nope, I'm not moving, nothing's happening. I don't know anybody that's moving to the neighborhood. What's a good way to continue that conversation?
Do you need anything before I let you go? People helping you with your place, contractors, etc. Anything.
Okay. Yep, you could go for the close, go for the close of the conversation, go into trying to get your information over to them. But what's another way that you can create more of a conversation? If they say, no, we're not moving, we're staying here forever, what's a good way to keep that conversation rolling?
Well, I'm gonna be holding an open house this weekend. Could you tell me what are some of the favorite things about the neighborhood?
Love it. Exactly. So if they love the neighborhood, why? If they hate the neighborhood, why? If they'll never move, why? If they're, one of the things that I brought up to Aloha yesterday that really works well in these phone calls is ask them if there's anything that you could change about the neighborhood, what would it be? It really makes them start to think and give you an answer that's not just like a yes or a no or never or tomorrow or that kind of thing. If you can get them to start talking about things that they either love about the neighborhood, if their answer is, I wouldn't change a single thing, that's amazing. Well, then what's your favorite part of it? If they're like, well, since we moved in, this has happened, this has happened, this has happened. And they can get into some of those conversations, and who knows, by the end of that conversation, they may go, you know what? Actually, we've talked about moving. why don't we, what do you think our house is worth? You can have that conversation, open up to something different if you go into, what would you change about the neighborhood? So since you weren't here, do you have any wins?
Byron Buzz this afternoon, second walkthrough this evening.
Okay. Fire press this afternoon, where these people come from, what are they? Who are they?
Lead from the lender, and, they just pre-approved and want someone that can take care of them, so.
Nice, what lender?
It's our mortgage.
Perfect. Nice. And then you said you had a second walkthrough tonight?
A second showing, yep, I had Cheyenne help me with some clients over the weekend to go and show the house, and then we're gonna see it again this evening, so.
Nice. Love hearing that.
What can I say?
Love seeing people helping each other out. All right, well, I want you guys to split up. We got plenty of time here, so let's start going through the just sold portion of it. If you guys are in Zoom land, you guys can jump on a call if you have the ability to do so. And let's start running through what these look like as a just sold rather than a just listed. All right, break.
Hey, good morning, this is Jay over at KW, how are you?
I'm doing well, Jay, how can I help you?
Well, hey, I was just giving you a quick call, we just sold a property on 123 Main Street. And I'm calling to see if you might know anybody that wants to move in the area.
I don't know anybody that wants to move into the neighborhood, but we need to sell the house.
Yeah, we did just sell the house, you don't have any family or friends that might be interested in living here?
Well, they might be, but the house is sold, how can they live next to it?
Well, we'll find another house for them. That's a good rebuttal, how do you comment?
Okay, so again, this is just sold, right?
Yeah.
So if you just sold the house, are you trying to find somebody to go into that house? Probably not.
Right,
What else have to do?
right.
So what would you change in that script? In the verbiage right there, that's the reason we're doing this. Because if you start running through that script and you get somebody that is a smart ass like Ben,
Right.
that wants to say stuff like that, how are you gonna respond? You're gonna be like,
Right.
So how would you change that next question to make it work for just sold?
Did you see how much it's sold for? Have you thought about how much your house would sell for?
Yeah. Did you mean?
Any other idea?
Right into price with them, it seems kind of early to hit them with that.
I'm not
Good.
saying you had to.
What's another thing you can throw out there?
Did you get a chance to look
Hold
at
on.
it before it's sold?
Does anybody in Zoom land, since we're all on camera right now, does anybody in Zoom land have an answer for that? What could you throw in there to make that next question work for a just sold? Wait, typing? Okay, I'll give you an easy one. So if you just sold the house, right? And you're calling around the neighborhood to let them know that it's sold.
Right.
What's a really good way of finding out if they want to sell their house?
Trying to talk about value. And then, yeah, obviously, like you said, you raise the property value potentially, so discussing.
There's that,
what it would look like.
absolutely. Another option that you could go into is you could say, hey, we just sold this house over here on 123 Main Street, and I'm curious, we had a ton of traffic and a lot of interest. And I'm curious, do you know anybody in the neighborhood that's actually looking to sell? Because we have a laundry list of people that are trying to get into this neighborhood.
Right.
Oh, no, everybody that's in this neighborhood wants to stay here. Okay, but curious. I've heard that a couple times. What do you love about the neighborhood so much?
Right.
Or, yeah, everybody's. Why do you think that is?
Right. Bunch of riffraff.
Yeah, a bunch of riffraff moving in, or prices have gone through the roof and a lot of people have lived here for a while and they see the benefit in it.
Right.
What about you guys? How long have you lived here?
Right.
And we're back in school.
Right. Okay,
Does that make sense?
yeah,
So really easy opening to be able to get people to start kind of, maybe thinking about the fact of moving. Or if they're not thinking about the fact of moving, they may say, well, actually John and Karen that live up the street, have been talking about it for a while. Oh, really? Well, which house is that? Blah, 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 find out the information. And then when you call, you can say, hey, I just talked to Kevin down the street. He told me that you guys were, considering making a move, and we just sold a house over 123 Main Street. And, we've got a lot of buyers that are ready to roll. We ended up with X amount of offers, and, you know, it's sold for over asking price, and we've got a system that can get you, you know, a top dollar for your house. Is it something that you're interested in doing, right? Now, obviously, when you make that phone call, you don't jump right into that.
Is that something that you're interested in doing?
Yeah, you don't do that, and that's not very my fair share.
house.
That was the entire conversation,
Well,
short. Short.
I'm in your driveway.
In that situation, you're gonna say, hey, you know, I talked to Kevin on the street, and he said you guys consider moving, tell me more about that.
Right,
Where are you guys going?
right.
What are your thoughts? What makes you think that now's a good time to move?
Right.
Yada.
Okay.
Make sense?
Yeah.
All right, jump back in.
Hey, I was just giving you a quick call. We just sold a property on 123 Main Street. And, we have a lot of interest in the area. Do you happen to know anybody around you that might be interested in selling your home?
not that I know of, but I can definitely ask around and get back to you if I hear anything.
Yeah, not that you know. What about you? What do you like about the neighborhood?
I hate to know,
You think the neighborhood, what specifically do you not like about the neighborhood?
that's just too far from anything.
Too far from anything, so you have longer commute. What part of town do you live in?
I work from home, but my grocery store, gym, it's just too far away.
Right.
It's about a 30-minute drive to the gym.
Well, let me ask you, where would you move to next if you could move?
I probably would next to the gym, but I don't think I'm ready to move.
Apartment next to the gym? Okay. Why there? Why so close to the gym?
Gym's very important. I'd be pushing the gym.
Yeah, that would spend most of your time at the gym? Yeah. I don't know, lots of hot girls there?
Dude, I'm married. How about,
Doesn't matter.
can't stare at other women.
Oh, stop.
It's a sin.
Come on, stop.
It's a sin.
Ben's not making this easy on you.
No, he never does. Like, never.
I have to use-
Has he ever?
Okay, so, I'm gonna stop real quick. What gym do you go to?
I don't know. What gym do I go to gym? One that's 30 minutes away from me.
Yeah, you didn't tell me specifically.
I don't know.
You wanna know why you didn't tell you
Because I
specifically?
didn't ask.
Because you didn't ask.
Right.
Right. You're asking an open-ended question.
Right,
You wanna ask specifically,
right.
That are still somewhat open.
that are open-ended so they can answer, but you wanna get specific so you can get an answer.
Right,
Because if he tells you that he goes to Lifetime, then you know the area he wants to be in.
right,
If he tells you he goes to, you know, Genesis on 72nd.
right,
Well, so there's a lot of gyms between here and there. Why do you go to specific?
right.
Oh, you know, my best friend goes in there, or maybe it is the women's, or maybe, you know, whatever.
That he doesn't want to tell his wife about.
Right, it could be any of this. But again, our goal here is to get down to the why.
Right.
Right? So when you get into the specifics of, you know, what gym do you go to? Okay, so why do you go to that one instead of going to, isn't there a YMCA right up the street from you? Oh, I can't go there. Why not?
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You dig into that, you can start getting into, well, you know, my best friend goes there. Okay, well, where's he live? Now, he also lives like really close to, well, what neighborhood?
Right.
Is that a neighborhood you think about going into?
Right.
No, I don't want to live in that neighborhood. Really? So is there any neighborhoods around there you'd be interested in?
Yeah.
Oh, I looked at Happy Hollow. Okay. Why Happy Hollow?
Start getting them to visualize.
Yep.
On their own.
Make them build a picture of where they would go
Right,
without you asking, do you want to move?
right,
Because then you go through, then building the picture, then at the end of it, you're like, well, you know, just curious, what specifically would need to happen in order for you to move to Happy?
Right.
Well, I don't know, I haven't really thought about it. Well, just hypothetical. I'm not saying we're gonna do it tomorrow, anything like that, hypothetical. We'll just go to it. Hypothetical, Ben. You said you're interested in Happy Hollow. What specifically would need to happen for you to move there?
You know, I think the right house would have to come up for sale.
Okay, the right house would have to come up for sale, that makes sense. And just curious, what's that right house look like? Like, walk me through it. Pretend like we're on HGTV and you're showing me the house. What's it?
Like a 1.5 story
Okay,
with the main on the floor. And it definitely has to have an in-ground pool in the backyard
okay, nice.
and at least a 4-car garage.
Okay. So 4-car garage, 1.5 story with master on the main, and then in-ground pool. Okay, so tell me about that. Do you have a pool now?
I don't.
You know, it's just
But
kind
I'd
of
like
something one.
Yeah, because I'm gonna be going to the gym that's close to there and all these women are gonna be like, oh, you have a pool, perfect.
Right. No, that makes perfect. It makes perfect sense for the married guy that can't look at other women.
Because it's the same.
Yeah, good. So,
My lady is a friend.
right, because you're trying to make your girlfriend or wife have friends.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Makes me wife happy.
Right.
Wife happy.
So Ben, let me ask you. What specifically would need to happen for you to get them? Like what would you need to see in order to make that happen?
I mean, if we're talking about what I need to see, I can come to the gym with me, you know, so, I'd probably need to get like 400,000 for my home.
Okay, 400,000 for your house.
And then be able to, find a new house under $1 million.
Okay, so try to stay under $1 million, get 400,000 for your house. And do you think that's something we could realistically do?
I don't see why not. I'd be surprised if we didn't get, 500 for my house. What do you think we get for my house?
You know, honestly, I haven't seen the house yet, but it sounds like Happy Hollow might be an area that would make a lot of sense for you to take, at least take a look at. Am I right?
Yeah, do you have any houses for sale over there right now?
Well, I haven't really looked. Why don't I do this? Let's set up a time sometime this week. I'll come over, take a look at your house since I haven't seen it yet. Give you a realistic number of what your house could possibly sell for. And I'll take a look and see what's out there in Happy Hollow. Let's go over that when I stop by. And then from there, you guys can do whatever makes the most sense to you. Does that make sense?
That makes sense.
Okay,
But I'll just look at the Zillow number for now. Can you send me over the houses that are in Happy Hollow?
absolutely, absolutely. Okay, so where would you go from here? He's stopping the appointment. He's not trying to set the appointment.
Wouldn't you go into where Zillow, you know, isn't an accurate analysis of your home?
That
You
makes
leave
sense.
them to-
You could go there. That wouldn't be a bad way to go. I would actually ask him if he's done that yet.
Right.
So in this situation, I'd be like, so you said the Zillow number. Have you looked at what your house says on Zillow?
Yeah, it was last week.
What did it
keeps
say?
changing. It ranges from like 375 up to 525.
Okay, so that's a big
Yeah,
range.
yeah.
So how is it bouncing back and forth?
The market, man, houses are slowing down, aren't they? What are you seeing?
So I'm still seeing houses go really quickly. There's still a lot of buyers out there. It's not the days of you put a sign in the market or put a sign in the yard and you end up with 50 offers the first day. Those days are over for a little while. They'll be back, but they're over for a little while. But as somebody who's gonna sell, that may seem like a negative thing, but as somebody who's gonna buy, it's a phenomenal thing. Because if you think about it, you don't wanna try to go over and find a house that say is at $950 and then have to pay $1.5 million for it, do you?
That's quite a bit.
Exactly. So in this situation, we can still get a decent amount for your house and get you what you need. And then turn around and try to find a way that we can get the house that you want with, maybe some closing costs included, get it under asking price. It's a really good buyer situation. But because you're in that lower price range that are still moving really quickly, those higher price ranges aren't moving as quickly. So it's actually a beneficial market. Does that make sense?
I guess so. So you're saying my house is in one of the lower brackets and out of the poorhouse?
Yeah, basically. Always. But this guy.
Yeah. right.
The growth, we're 400,000. We can live on these stands.
Always, yeah,
Always.
always. Always has to try to throw a wrench at it.
That's good though.
It's rare that you're, by the way, just for you on Zoom land, it is very rare that you're gonna run into somebody that's as difficult as Ben is when you're doing this with him. But the good news is that if you can handle Ben and the things that he throws at you, when you're on the phone with a real person, as opposed to this non-real person, easy as pie. Like it's a cakewalk.
Yeah.
So. Let's see, where would I go with that question?
Most of the affordable housing or something like that, is in your price range, which is why there's a lot more buyers out there. There is $1 million houses, which lucky for you, you're fortunate enough to be able to afford one.
That's a really good
But
way to
not a
go.
lot of people can.
So it's more of an affordable price range, so you have a larger pool of buyers.
Yeah, okay, so we got the four street lots. You got the poorhouse thing. How would you close that?
I mean, from that point, he definitely needs to know what the value of his home is. He needs to get it narrowed down.
Right, exactly.
You've hit that point where you really try to set that appointment and pencil it in. Let's meet this afternoon or tomorrow evening, see what it could look like. Right into the.
Right, I would go into, on a typical week, or afternoons or evenings?
Evening.
Evenings are better, okay. I actually have some time today at 5 o'clock or tomorrow at 6. I know you said you want to take a look at what is out there, but I think the best thing for you to do is get an idea. That range is kind of bouncing all over the place. Let's narrow it down so you know exactly what your house is worth. And then we can start really looking to make sure that you're gonna be comfortable in the house we find for you. Does that make sense? Perfect. So does today at 5 or tomorrow at 6 work better?
We plan tomorrow at 6.
Perfect, sounds like a plan. Will your wife be able to attend as well?
No, she's gonna get there.
She'll be at the gym. Okay, so you guys go at different times.
Yeah, we have
Yeah,
to.
it would be really convenient for you guys to both be able to be closer to the gym if that's the case. Okay, well, why don't we do this? Let's pencil it at 6, see if your wife can join us so that she's on the same page as us. And then from there, you guys can decide whatever makes the most sense to you. Sound good?
Yeah, sure.
Perfect, so I'll see you tomorrow. All right, anybody got any questions, comments, concerns on that one? I got that already. I called you.
He's in the driveway.
I'm actually out front.
your driveway.
I've made those phone calls.
From there.
I've made the I'm out right out front conversation before.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
How do you not make them feel freaked out?
Hey, I was actually just, coincidentally, I was actually just over at the house that we just sold,
Right,
picking up a couple of things. I'm right down the street right now. If you're home,
right.
I'd be happy to swing by.
Do you have any close any of those?
Yeah, I got one.
Oh, yeah?
I did it for sale by owner that way.
Oh, yeah?
Yep. I did it for sale by owner that way because I signed call because I saw it.
Yeah.
And I just pulled over
Right,
and told them, hey, I was in the neighborhood because of this.
right.
So I started going through the regular for sale by owner strip, but instead of setting it for later on.
Right.
I just told them like, actually, coincidentally enough, are you at home right now? They're like, yeah, I'm at home. I'm just up the street because I was at the house that we just sold.
Right.
And, sounds like, you're trying to get the house, so why don't I swing by?
Yeah.
And then you do like the soft for sale by owner walkthrough, right?
Right.
Not trying to get the signed contracts, anything like that. If they turn around and they are one of those people that's like, don't want you to leave until you do the contract. Always have your computer with you, you can whip that thing out,
Right.
put it together.
Yeah.
That was one of those things where I stopped by and the guy was like, I really like you.
Right.
And, we've been trying to sell this thing for over a month now. You guys sold that thing in 3 days, sounds like you know what to do.
Right.
And I was like, yeah, absolutely.
Let's do it.
And I was like, well, the wife isn't here. Why don't I go pull comps? Go pull them for you guys. Let's walk through what it could look like if you guys decided to list with us.
Right.
And then your wife can be here what time she get home, 5 o'clock, perfect, sounds good. I'll come back at 5 o'clock tonight. We'll run through it all. And if it all makes sense to you guys, we'll take the next steps. If not,
Right.
no harm, no foul.
Right.
But yeah, I've done that. I'm in the neighborhood a few times.
Yeah.
Works really well for somebody owners.
I mean, 90% of for sale owners are thrilled to show their house sitting for.
Mhm.
There's that 10%, it's like, nope, you're not.
Yeah, it's
So
really,
if you have a buyer.
it's really rare. But if you do get one of those, if you have a buyer people, most of the time, they're gonna be the biggest pain in your ass anyway.
Oh, yeah. I feel like most of the time, those people have had a bad experience with an agent, and that's why they're like that, where they've done it for sale owner before, and they've had 10 agents come in and pressure them and try to do it. So, nope, not doing it. So. That's the way.
But then once you get in the door and you don't act like that,
Right. Oh, yeah,
flips completely.
100%.
Relationships over transactions. All right, we got 15 minutes, let's switch it around. Ben. He doesn't. need to check and see what it is.
It's gonna be so much further when I move it around.
Next door.
It's like, yeah, but
40 minutes of my life.
Hey, good morning, this is Ben over at KWD, how are you?
I'm doing okay.
Great, great, I was just giving you a quick call, if you didn't see, we just sold the house down the street from you guys there. I think it was on the market for like 3 days, did you guys get the chance to go and take a look at it?
No, I never checked that place out. Used to be a drug house, didn't it?
Did it used to be a drug house? You would know better than I, you live right down the street from it, was it a drug house?
Yeah, that's what we all thought.
Oh, no kidding, well, how long have you lived in the neighborhood?
About 5 years.
Okay, and did you think it was a drug house for all 5 years, or did something happen?
The last couple of years, there's been some pretty sketchy things coming in and out of there.
No kidding.
Yeah.
Is that like the only drug house on the neighborhood, or did you
Yeah,
see
besides
that
mine.
besides your house? No kidding. I said, well, what kind of sketchy stuff do you got going on in your house?
No, I'm just kidding. No drugs here.
Darn, that's a bummer, man. I was gonna say we could have a good time together, but it is what it is. Okay, okay, so you've been there for 5 years. Well,
Yeah.
you know, if you saw something else like that happen and you had another house, would you guys plan on leaving, or how would you feel about the neighborhood?
Other than that place is, it's a pretty solid neighborhood, so most of the neighbors are happy to see them go.
That's awesome.
So what's the situation with that house? Did the seller sell it, or did it get confiscated, or what's the story on that?
You know, that was a great question. I'm surprised you didn't even see it in the news. Apparently, the people, the tenants there that were renting it out had like 25 pounds worth of marijuana in there. They got arrested and
Devil's
everything.
lettuce.
It was terrible. You didn't see that in the news?
No, I never saw it in the news.
Dang, that's ridiculous. Especially, like, you didn't see any cop cars or the bus go down there?
We saw the cop cars like 2 months ago.
Oh, okay.
And then there was just nobody there, no activity, and then we saw the sign go up in the yard.
I think that's probably why the landlord decided to sell it at that point, because there was a little bus that went down there.
Right.
That's totally understandable.
Did they trash it, or what happened?
You know, it looked fine from behind the means, you know, there was a little bit of weed here, but it was all confiscated by the cops, so. Other than that, the condition of the home was pretty nice,
Okay,
it wasn't bad. Do you know, are there a lot of renters in your neighborhood?
not in like directly around me, there's none. It seems like everyone owns, they take care of their lawns and keep up on everything.
Well, that's awesome. Well, I mean, we did get it sold in like 3 days. Do you happen to know anybody else in the neighborhood that would be looking at making that move or getting their home sold in the near future here before the market changes?
No, I mean, not really. Like I said, everyone's happy with the neighborhood other than, now that those people are gone, people are probably gonna stay.
Yeah, you're probably, I think it's a
Parties and
family
cars
concept
all
too.
night.
Parties and families all night.
Yeah, well, no, now there won't be parties, cars up and down the street and traffic. So I think it's gonna incentivize a lot of people to stay.
That'll be awesome, absolutely, yeah. Well, you know, you said you've been there 5 years, so it sounds like that's gonna probably be a home for you guys for a while now, isn't it?
Actually, no, why would you assume that?
That's a great question. It just sounded like you really like the neighborhood. Were you planning on making a move soon?
Yeah, I mean, maybe.
Well, how
We
did
haven't
that play
decided.
Where would you go?
That's a great question. Probably out in the country where I wouldn't have to worry about having neighbors selling drugs.
That's a fair point, but isn't like most small towns in the country feel like where most of the drugs happen?
Yeah, there's a lot of that, but not in like the small towns, just out in the country, like in acreage.
Oh, that's where you wanna be in the acreage out there?
Yeah,
Well,
where I can't see my neighbors when I take the trash out.
that's a fair point. Well, what part of town or area would you be open to?
Actually like the Gretna area.
Gretna area, okay, and you said you don't wanna be able to see your neighbors when you're taking the trash out, so how much land do you think it would take for that to happen?
Really would just depend on what we could afford.
Yeah, that's definitely a good point there. Have you guys spoken with anybody to see kind of what you could afford for that acreage?
No, we haven't. We've just been kind of looking online and keeping an eye out for stuff, but we have no idea what we could afford, or what we could sell this place for, so. It's nothing that we've really gotten deep into.
No, well, if you had to shoot just a ballpark number, what do you think you could get for your house?
I think probably around 350.
Around 350, that's
Yeah.
great. The other house we just had on the market just went and sold for 365, so 350 sounds very reasonable.
Well, yeah, that was a drug house too.
No kidding.
65,
That's what I'm saying.
dang.
Well, why don't we do this? Why don't we just get together one day this week and we can go over some hard numbers and kind of see where your house would sell if you guys did decide to make that move? And then you can see if it would be worth it for you guys to get out to that acre. Does that work for you?
Yeah, I don't know that I'm ready to meet with you right now. Like I said, it's not anything that we're in a hurry to do, so. You just follow up with me down the road.
Yeah, absolutely, I can do that. Well, let me ask you this before I let you go. If the ideal acreage did pop up, what would that look like? Just so I know to keep an eye out for it.
Again, I mean, I really don't have an answer for that, because, it kind of depends on the price. So,
Absolutely, so in your head, where's that price gonna be at?
I mean, I don't think we'd probably find something with a house on it for less than 5 acres. We're gonna want at least like 2.5, 3 acres minimum. So with the house,
2.5, 3 acres minimum with the house on it?
Yeah.
And you're thinking over 500 is where it's gonna put you?
I mean, realistically, yeah, I think that's probably gonna put us in that range, unless it's like an old crappy farmhouse or something like that. I
No,
don't really wanna do.
you don't want the old fabric on the curb, okay. So you want something that's ready to rock and roll, ready to go for it?
Yeah,
Okay. Well, you said over 500 is kind of where you're thinking it's gonna be for that idea home. Did you have a top dollar of, what's gonna be too expensive for that idea home?
it's a great question. Not really, again, I haven't really put much thought into it. It's not something we just, we hardly even discuss it, so.
Absolutely, well, let's do this, I'll just see if there's anything that kind of matches what you told me about. I'll send it over, and then if you guys have any interest in it, we can definitely see what those numbers would look like for it. Cause it sounds like you still need to talk with your husband a little bit, kind of see where your budget's at there.
What, you think I'm, a life partner?
Is it not your life partner that you're talking about?
No,
Oh, my bad, no worries, go ahead and talk with your wife, is that who it is?
sure.
Perfect. Go ahead and talk with your wife kind of about it and see, if you guys decide to change your mind or something like that, we can definitely sit down and go over what it would take for you guys to get into that new acreage. Now, in the meantime, is there anything I can do for you, any connections or referrals that you?
No, I think we're good, yeah, I'll just look out for some of those emails, but. Look and see what you might have out there.
Perfect. Yeah, and then what's the best email for me to send those to?
Yeah, it's david7@gmail.com.
Perfect, and Jay, I'll go ahead and I'll email over my contact info as well, just so that way you have that on file. And then if anything does come up, or you guys are, wanting to see what it would look like to make that move earlier rather than later, you can definitely go that route too.
Right.
Perfect, well, have a great day, Jay, I'll talk to you later.
Right, good job.
Okay, you got anything with that? Got any,
So I have any
any
feedback?
feedback?
Only just that he was assuming things, but I know it's just because we're messing around.
Yeah.
So. Right, but otherwise, I think you did phenomenal.
Yeah, couple things that I would throw in there. White ground.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, because I was gonna hit on the schools, that was why I picked the right now.
Red name.
Yeah.
So if I would have said White Gretna and you turned around and said, well, you have really great schools. What schools, is there anything going on with the schools that you don't like right now? Well, no, our kid is,
Kids aren't as good.
kids want to get into whatever sport or whatever it is. Okay, so if the kids want to get into sport, how soon would you like that? Right? So you're creating a sense of urgency. You're creating a scenario that makes them understand that they need to do it sooner rather than later.
Right.
Or you're finding out in that conversation that, they're really worried about high school, but their kids are in elementary school, so. We know what bucket we're putting that person, right?
Understand has autism.
Right.
Whatever, they work better out there.
Right, those kind of things are what's gonna come out when you start getting into why retina, why, and the other thing that I would do, and I always do this on the phone. Is I try to get them to paint a picture of what it looks like, right? So we found the perfect acre, right? You and your wife, husband, whatever you decided to do. But,
I'm gender fluid.
yeah, you're gender fluid, okay, so you and your non-binary partner are, you guys find that perfect acre. How many acres do we have? What's the house look like? Walk me out the back door, what do you see? Show me, what do you picture for that house to look like? Right? Their answer may be, hey, no, okay, there's nothing wrong with that. But just dig down deep in the back of your head. If you could design the perfect situation, what would that look like? Right. 90% of the time, they're gonna go, well, I love a ranch, I love this, I love this, I'd love to be able to walk out my back doors, and there's nothing but trees, or I can see fields, or I can see, whatever it is, or I want completely private, or I want completely open, or whatever that situation
Everyone's
is.
got things about the house they're in now they don't like.
Right,
So,
and they're gonna-
paint a picture of things they wish they had.
exactly, and they're gonna drive through that, they're gonna not only give you an idea of what you're looking for when you're searching for that acreage, but you're also gonna find out things that they don't like about the house that they're in.
Right.
So they're gonna point out things as they're going through that, well, our kitchen's kind of small right now, we'd love to have this, okay? So what's that kitchen look? Tell me more about this. Do you have one island, do you have two islands, is there no islands?
Right.
Does it look like your grandma's house? What's that look like?
Right.
Walk them through it, because as soon as they start painting the picture, and you also find out that deep why, like I said, the kid has autism and he wants, you need to get him into Retina before he turns 10 or whatever it is, before he gets into 6th grade, whatever that scenario is. If you're going through and you find out what that why is, and you also get him to paint the picture in the process.
Right.
At that point, it's no longer maybe we can do it one day.
Right,
they start going, well, I want that net.
right,
Because they have that true picture in their head of what that looks like. Even if it's something that you can't find,
right,
if you can pull out, maybe if they give you 10 things,
Right.
you can pull out 5 or 6. You know, maybe it's a 2-story, it's not the ranch, but the kitchen's what they want, and it has the view that they want, and it's the neighborhood that they want, and yada, 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 it's got the acreage that they want. If you can build that picture and then find them something that's similar to it,
right,
they're gonna have an emotional attachment to it because you've already had them build that picture.
right,
When they haven't done that yet, the whole conversation goes, I don't know, who knows, we haven't thought about it, yada, yada, yada. But when you start getting to those hypotheticals, it's really easy to do a hypothetical, because it's nothing that exists, right? It's not right now.
Right.
Hey, I know this is a couple years down the road, but tell me, what does that look like?
Right.
You know, what is that acreage in your mind, what's that look like? Does your wife have anything that she needs? You know, is there anything that she wants, that she says, oh, absolutely have to have this? Okay, well, let's walk through that, what's that look like? You know, paint me a picture.
Right.
If you have that conversation, they're gonna get more excited, they're gonna start thinking about, well, can we do this now? And then you get into that, okay, so what specifically would need to happen in order for you to get to that acreage, if we found it?
Right.
Well, you know, I have to do this, I have to do that, I have to have this much for my house, okay, why that much for your house? Well, I've got this, I have to pay off, and this I have to pay off, my credit needs to go to this level, okay? So now we know we need to work on credit, right? Or now we know we have this and this to pay off.
Right.
So we have to make sure to get this for the house. Is that possible? Well, you know, why don't we do this? Why don't I pull in sometime this week? Let's sit down, let's see if it's even possible to get you that number. And then we can realistically see if that acreage is future now, or if it's few years down the road.
Right.
Either way, doesn't matter to me. Let's just make sure that you know everything that you need to know, and then from there, you guys can make the decision of what.
Right.
Those are kind of situations that are hard to say no to.
Right.
Because there's no sign of contract, there's no push. It's like, hey, I'm gonna come over, I'm gonna give you what you already told me that you need.
Right.
And then from there, you decide.
Right.
Not up to me. Oh, well, we've got another agent that we promised we would talk to. Okay, no problem. I'll still come over, we'll have the conversation. And then from there, if you want to interview the other agent, absolutely, no big deal whatsoever.
Right.
I just want to provide values.
Right.
If they look at it from that point of view, even if you go over there and they do have another agent, and the other agent walks in the door and doesn't have that kind of a conversation, which they won't, because most agents don't have these kind of conversations.
Right.
They're gonna be like, well, you know, I do love Ben, but Jay really not gonna call.
Right.
So, you know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah. That's
It's a-
the feedback that I typically get.
Yeah, most people aren't used to talking to agents that talk this way.
No, most of them are like, you're different than all the other agents that come through here trying to kick my door.
And they're way more comfortable,
Yeah.
they're willing to give you more information.
Yeah.
And by the end of it, they're like, you know, I'd rather work with you.
Right.
Because you keep that distance between sign the contract, I need a commission. Clients can feel that every single
Right.
time. And when you don't act that way, it really throws it off.
Right.
They expect when you walk in the door, especially on for sale by owners,
Right.
you know. They expect you're gonna walk in the door and be like, sign a contract, you should listen. to
You
me.
can't do this
You're-
without me.
You're stupid for trying to do this.
Right.
If you don't go that route and you go like, hey, let me try to help you.
Right.
If you guys can sell on your own, great.
Right.
They don't know how to answer. They don't know how to respond to that. They're already guard up when you walk in the door, and by the end of it, they're like, don't leave.
Right.
Where's that paper that I can sign?
Right. Take more.
But hey, since we're sitting here and it is 10 o'clock, and in the interest of you guys getting on the phones and starting making some of these phone calls,
Aloha's gotta win.
Aloha's gonna win.
Your time to shine. You can hear it.
Okay, what's up, guys?
Hey,
Hey, so Eric gave me some really great advice on like if I frequent a place, right? And like I go to the gym now every morning, a little toot. But I go to the gym every morning and he told me to pick one person to get to know and to remember their name, right? So I picked the guy that always greets me when I go into the gym. Really nice younger kid. He's in college, whatever. His name is Moises. I was like, oh my God, I can't not remember that name. Okay. Anyway, so every time I go into the gym, I say, "Hey, Moises, what's up?" And literally face lights up, right? Like people love it when you remember their name. So I've literally been going to the gym almost every morning during the week. And we got to talking. And as I was leaving today, that's why I didn't make it to role play. I was like, what's after this, Moises? Like, what's after you working at Blue Moon? And so we got to talking, and that one question opened up an entire conversation. Like, his parents are moving to a new house, and he wants to move into the dorms, but they're giving him the house that they currently live in. And he's like, I really don't want this house. And I was like, oh. And he's like, yeah, would you help me sell it? I was like,
Gotta love it.
I was like, really? So like, it's just crazy how like using these things, you know, even in an open house setting, like that's in our open house training is remembering people's names. But um, yeah, I thought that was really special,
That's,
and it helped me pick up a lead today. And
believe me, guys, when she talks about that, when you go into the bank, when you go into the gym, when you go into the grocery store, like, if you have somebody that you talk to every single time you go in there, like we know the guy at Don, right? At Pepper Jack's. He absolutely loved us. And I guarantee you, if anybody comes up and says anything about real estate, who's Don gonna suggest? Well, you or me. Because he knows us. And he's gonna say, hey, well, I got his number. And that's all you're doing every single day, all day long. But also in the process of trying to get those referrals, you're making people that meet you, know you, like you, and trust you. And even if they never give you a referral, you've got good people around you. If they do run into anybody that wants to get into real estate, then even better. But that's the whole point. That's the difference between exactly what we were just talking about. It's for sale by owners. It's just listen to sold calls. When you go out with the mentality of trying to remember people that make them special, make them feel special, and you look at it on a true, relationships over transactions kind of mentality in every aspect of your life, I guarantee you're going to win in the end. Guarantee it. Which is a perfect place. So go out, make your phone calls. We will do recap at 11:45. JJ is going to run that because I got to show a couple houses. And if you need anything, again, Byron and Jack are gone for the week. But I am around. My phone is on. I'm wearing all of the hats. So if you need anything, my phone is on. Give me a call. Let me know. Otherwise, we will see you at 11:45.